Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II, World at War with our Allied playthrough. In the last episode we progressed to June of 1943. The Battle of the Mediterranean spiced up as the Italians sailed out and sank the formerly French triumphant cruiser. However, we responded by sinking like 2 battleships and a heavy cruiser, so that went pretty well. We've also injured one of their submarines. We've been using Malta here as kind of like a operational base. Our push in Italy is going well. We still have to look at Yugoslavia, that region, and we have to look at not Brest anymore, France in general. Let's look at Belgrade. We can do some Air Force tactical bombing. I guess we are earning the ability to be able to pull this off. Let's go ahead and do a strike. Dealing 1 damage, absolutely nothing flying out to stop me, which is awesome. Let's go ahead and also do some arty striking. Let's just hit it with both shells. Get all that entrenchment and morale nice and gone. So we can blast right through here, starting with the Epirus army. 4 damage dealt, 1 received. Let's see. The Brits have more of a chance than the Greeks. Better morale, that's why. Similar experience. Greeks actually have a little more experience than this corps, but better morale. Makes a difference. Go ahead and attack. Looking good. Looking good. I guess we'll finish it off with this Greek corps. And voila! Belgrade is mine. Now, how are we going to secure this versus moving forward? Because now we're at a point where, like, the Greeks need to keep moving forward. We simultaneously need to kind of, like, keep some dudes in the rear to hold off. So naturally, we'd want, like, a corps staying back here, ideally. And these guys, at this rate, can kind of just be left where they are. We'll go ahead and give this guy some AA defense, not that he really needs it. But point still stands. These guys are in a position where they can start being left where they are. I guess I'll take the first corps and leave them here for the time being. And we'll move something forward. The Epirus army needs to move forward. This corps needs to move forward. We can reinforce the Brit tanks. That is kind of what I hoped to do. We'll do that, as well as the Rhodesian Special Forces, which might slow this down, but I'm thinking I'll just have the Soviets do this, and I'll probably do it right now. Let's go ahead and attack with this corps, because they have a prepared attack. 2 damage dealt. They are attacking across a river, which is never ideal. These guys cannot get any upgrades or any of that. These guys can at least move out of the way. We have an army here, which can be pretty useful. We'll go ahead and move them forward. Army that just stepped on the capital of Hungary, whose loss, I guess, for the enemies has changed a couple things. We'll move you back now that you've done your part. I'm not trying to get too into the USSR. I'm just trying to do this stuff. Attack again. Only 1 damage dealt that time. Ugh. Just die already. Here, let's move another corps up. Alright, and that frees up more units because now this is dead. Doesn't really matter who steps on this because Croatia is already annexed by the UK, so it'll just go to the UK anyway. So technically speaking, I could just march across there, but it might just fix itself, I guess. We'll march forward, and we have an Italian garrison waiting for us here. We'll attack that with the 10th Army and make quick fucking work of it, which is always nice. We'll move forward and claim the spot for ourselves, and then move forward even further against the river and see what we find. What we found is an Italian HQ. Okay. Now let's see. The Sudanese HQ can be moved up. This Sudanese unit is still trying to catch up. We'll move the Sudanese HQ and its related corps forward to meet this enemy HQ, the Gazoni HQ, along this river and attack immediately. 4 damage dealt, and we've knocked it back. We can move across the river right now, and all that's really waiting for us at Venice is a bomber and then 2 HQs. So yeah, fuck it. Move forward. Get whatever ground that we can take. The Montgomery HQ can move forward. I'd like to get it to Zagreb, but we can't really move quite that far just yet. We can upgrade or reinforce the WDF army, so I will definitely do that. We can get the Sudanese corps up to split, so we will definitely do that. Let's see what else. This is all Croatia, so this is UK. So we'll move you along this rail and road. Yeah, we're only now reaching rail lines, and our supply is still spreading up in this region. Oh, the Greeks can move forward with the Brits to assist them. Doesn't matter if any Brits fall behind or anything, Montgomery especially. However, what and how are we going to keep moving things up here? We'll have to leave like a trail of Greek cores in our wake, is what it seems like, if we're going to really defend everything over here. Which, however, we should still be able to bring the armies forward with the HQ as support. We're going to need the HQs, I know that much. That much is 100%. And we're probably going to want to advance with the armies if we advance with anything. So let's send the Macedonian army forward. This army can't get too far forward, but we'll send it as far forward as we can get. Belgrade right now is safe. We ideally want to move the Greek HQ up. However, if we're not sitting on Belgrade, we don't really have anywhere to put it. Moving the Greek HQ forward before Montgomery could be an idea, although its movement right now is very limited. However, we will go ahead and move it up. The second corps here is going to go step on this mine for the time being and guard the entrance to this territory. We can leave the anti-tank as a defender, but I might just start moving that up. It certainly doesn't need to be where it is anymore, especially now that Turkey is leaning towards the Allies. Getting that Albanian corps that's here going could be nice, and the garrison. Just as a defensive measure. So the garrison can protect Albania's capital, and the corps can come over, maybe replace one of the Greek corps or something like that. That could definitely be something that we do. Either way, the Brits have a lot of stuff to do, and spending it all over here is going to be debatable on whether or not that's really very helpful. I'll go ahead and do it. We'll start with the garrison. We'll get the first Albanian garrison, the only Albanian garrison purchased. There you go. And then there's the rest of this that we can get. Full upgrades would cost 245, but it would allow an Albanian corps to go defend something and allow a Greek to move up instead. So I'll go ahead and purchase that as well. 3 turns. Who knows if we'll even need it 3 turns from now. 220 MPPs remaining for the Brits. They have no diplomacy chits to allocate. They have just enough for now to get a research in, and they do have space, so we'll keep that in mind as we actually go ahead and start utilizing these some more. So let's see here. We can move some things up, which we will. We're going to move the Desert Air Force fighters up along the road just next to Zagreb. They can go step on Zagreb for right now, although I do want to leave that spot open, so I'm not going to. I'll move the tactical bombers forward. Oh, if only we had more units to draw from over here. Like if Bulgaria had joined us. Once it ticks over that we've liberated Yugoslavia, Yugoslavia could raise its entire army, which is like an HQ, some armies, and even corps. It's actually a pretty large force compared to everything else that we have in the region. Well, it's about on par with Greece. That could be handy in case we do need to split up some of the work, but really, this is going so fast, I don't even think we will need to. We do have France to look at. Now, Hungary fell, so Nantes is just wide in the open now. So I'm going to go ahead and claim that with the Canadian Corps. We can go ahead and reinforce the first tanks where they are. There's an anti-air upgrade for this first mechanized we can get, but that's not very important. No, it's probably more important to move things up. So one thing I'll do is I'll move the Rupert First Special Forces forward. First, let's move the Canadian one up. That might be a little bit better. Up to the river here so they can take a look at what's going on. Nothing really needs to stay over here because the Indians can start moving up. Now, I don't know how far the Indians are really going to get. But if we take the BAI army and we move it across, we can see, okay, there's nothing at Bordeaux. So we can move with impunity here. Let's see then. We still don't have any good chance to actually take Paris. That's going to take a little more setup. So let's send this corps across to go stare down Paris. There's an Italian tank back here and a lot of rivers that could really fuck with our supply. Very important thing to note. The Canadian HQ can move as well. Somewhere where the Canadians are closer to. Let's go to Nantes. The supply from there is not going to be any good, but it's somewhere we can move. Now that we see this tank over here, we know we're not going to be able to actually move all the way up there. Unfortunate. But we'll move... I wish I could wrap around more easily so I could special forces and the mechanized in place for this. I could move the army across. Woo! However, I don't know what the second supply thing does, by the way. I guess it just projects where it could go. I don't want to get this army just surrounded and then beat up. I don't know if they'd be that ballsy. But I'd be pretty ballsy to go across this river. But I think I will do it. Yeah. Let's take the BEF army and move them across the river. They're a little bit surrounded, but we're getting Paris surrounded. That's kind of the goal here. And we are supporting with Kane, the Canadians in the rear for the time being. And I still don't think we have any of the Canadians that I've recruited ready. No, they'll be ready probably next turn or turn after that. I think they're arriving at different times is something to keep in mind. So until the British arrive with their garrisons, we need Indians to keep everything here safe. So this tank cannot reinforce. This HQ is going to need to move up. We're going to go ahead and move forward. Well, let's start with the artillery. We cannot force march this, sadly. We'll move this core off of this mine. We'll move the RD as far forward as it can get. We'll move the HQ up just behind it, which allows me to move the Gurkhas forward. I'm going to take the tanks and have those kind of moving in that direction, because the tanks will move forward, not the paratroopers. The core will stay in the rear. Oh, there's... The unfortunate thing here is, like, these are the two bad ones. I can operate the Gibraltar one over there. No, I can't quite get it over there just yet. Well, let's see what we can do. So, this core can definitely step on Zaragoza. That's an important one to keep protected. One thing here will keep both of these things protected. The Gibraltar doesn't really need any protection right now, so I'll just move it up for now. And we'll leave this here and give it some AA upgrade defenses. The planes don't really have the same luxuries of movement, so they're also just going to stay in this region for the time being. And eventually we do want to get as much stuff as possible moving forward. However, for now, that's about all we can do with these Indians. India still has 502 MPPs. No chits to allocate, but research that can be acquired. So we'll go ahead and research advanced tanks. India's fallen so far behind in tech because I focused way too much on units. They still have 327 MPPs remaining and plenty of room left for research. What could be really useful? Upgrading the planes, upgrading the AA defense, things like that. Yeah, and even maybe amphibious warfare if it comes down to it for dealing with Japan. We'd still have enough for 2 researchers even if we do get this one. But not 2 if we get like one of these. So let's go ahead and get amphibious warfare. That should be a quick one. And then let's also get, let's say, advanced fighters. That's pretty important. And then that's most of India's MPPs, but it's like mission accomplished. India completed. We're going to finally take the British Castleton destroyer out of Africa. Thanks to me remembering that I can do that. We're going to send it up the line. We see the Germans are using a Spanish port, which I guess they still own. 2 Spanish ports, but we now have occupied them, so. They do have some subs here that we can very specifically see where they are, and good that we can see them. We could get this rocket artillery past them. We can't quite get all the way to where we're going from here, however. So we'll either need to stop in the Gibraltar or over at one of these Spanish ports. We'll stop by a Spanish port and we'll stop by the most inconspicuous one that we possibly could. That's the American rocket artillery heading into the fray. Now, still many things to do with the British money. Let's go ahead and start upgrading these destroyers with the works that are that are important. Of course, ASW, AA naval weaponry makes them just better all around, but especially that ASW. Burning through our MPPs, yet getting a much stronger destroyer force ready, whatever they might be needed for. And voila! That's everything chilling out here with upgrades. The Javelin's already upgraded. I'm going to send that down along the line. We can send the carriers down. Well, this one can reinforce some aircraft, so we'll do that first. We can send carriers down. Oh, this one can also get another upgrade. I'll send the Courageous down to Brest for the time being. It's safe there. We do have the Spanish ports to operate with still, I guess, but either way. Should be able to get pretty far next turn. So all that stuff taken care of. We can reinforce these fighters, so I will. That doesn't leave much more opportunity for me to do very much right now, because that's pretty much all of our MPPs. And there's a lot of enemy fighters out here, like holy shit. There's some strat bombing we can do, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough if what we're going for is Paris. Paris is highly entrenched. It's just as entrenched as Berlin was. God damn. I wonder if it was that entrenched when we had it as France. This is pretty crazy. Now, woo. This does have some de-entrenchment capability, although I don't think I want to waste that just yet. Not until we can make some more progress. Paris is also going to be theoretically not that important. Again, I don't know, but I don't think that, for example, Germany can move its capital anywhere else after this. So, all of this should just fall. And then theoretically, when Rome falls, the same will happen. If Rome even needs to fall, with the Italian national morale being super duper fucking low, like ridiculously so. It might not even be needed. This anti-tank doesn't need to stay here. Like I said, I would get it moving. These Hellenic fighters have already seen use. We'll go move them up to Dubrovnik for now. Move the anti-tank up, because this is pretty well protected by these two Greek corps. And the anti-tank I'm not going to have standing facing off against infantry units and such. There's no point. Even if the corps ran into them, that would be fine. No real downside there. The UK, thus, is basically completely taken care of. I intentionally did not put this Kanga Special Forces back out to sea, because it's a submarine walking around here, and unfortunately I cannot control where the Special Forces goes. If I get unlucky, it'll go right here. The AI will somehow spot it, and then go, like, sink it with a submarine. Because I can't tell it to go out into the docks, and Special Forces never go out into the docks. So I'm going to try to wait for this sub to pass before I put it out, which is why I intentionally left it alone for right now. Now, over in China, or more accurately, Japan. Oh, I guess it is China now. We are making some progress. Killing units and kind of blazing a path. We have a weak garrison getting in our way, leading into Kyoto, and an army here with upgraded infantry weapons that seems perfect to deal with it, so we'll give it a shot. And voila, we have wiped out the enemy force on Kyoto, and we'll be able to move up into Kyoto right now, which is fantastic. Oh my good fucking god. The way we're going to do this is by continuously blasting our way through, like, the road system, not even by killing everything. Look at how much stuff they have. This island is chock full. It's chock full, motherfucker. What the fuck? Holy shit. Alright. Let's get this arty firing on the enemy arty here. De-entrench it. We can get some pretty good damage out with the army up here. I know, like, reinforcements and stuff could definitely be handy right now, but we just don't have that luxury. We'll attack, dealing 4 damage. Movement. Why are you so hard? I want to move the HQ forward, but as great as that supply would be, can't really do that with the amount of movement capacity that we currently have. Unless I guess I swap out with a bomber here and then just like fly the bomber away or something. Nah, we'll just put that on a delay. That's fine. Let's just take the 54th Army, move that forward so we can take the 13th Army and move that forward and then attack the enemy artillery. And voila, dead enemy artillery, but no ability for us to actually move up here with our massive amounts of zones of control over here. Don't know if that's even going to really matter. We can definitely move the Zoo HQ up, you know, and have it get ready. We have capability to do some bombing, but of course we know that they have fighters and other things like that. I don't know if they will be able to move into this mountain. Hopefully they won't, because then I have my 54th Army, was it? No, 13th Army that is upgraded and ready to move up and attack them from 2 sides. We are getting closer to Tokyo. That's of huge importance to highlight. As slow as it's going, we're getting closer, and that is great. So, let's attack with the Dare to Die Special Forces. Same target. 3 kills. It's actually almost dead. Let's swap in this army and attack. And it's dead. But can we actually get there is the question. And the answer appears to be no. We might be able to sail the first army around and do like a naval landing right there, technically. If we don't, they are going to move up. That is something to note, very importantly. If we don't do this, they will move up and retake this town. All right, yeah, we need every kind of, advantage we can get here. So let's go ahead and naval cruise that up here and land. And voila! We have pushed forward in a very strange way. We'll swap the artillery in, which now has 2 shells. It can save up for its 3rd shell. It should be able to provide defensive fire against anything the Indochina Expedition Army does. Well, I mean, this guy can do some attacking. Well, let's go ahead and start shelling this bitch then. Get him out of his entrenchments. Do it again. Okay, we've dealt some damage. We've got him fully out of his entrenchments. We could do big damage to him. I did move the Special Forces back intentionally. We can give it elite reinforcements or something like that. We'll go ahead and do it with the 42nd Army as well. I'm realizing, like, we're going to be able to actually take, for example, stuff here, put in long-range transports, and then just, like, dive in on things. I mean, look at this. Sendai is now open. Might happen when they move something up, but Sendai is now open. I could have just landed behind at Sendai, of course. We mainly want to secure the push we're doing. Probably, more than anything. That's an opinion. These upgrades, these are not... Okay, these HQs need their upgrades. Expensive, but they need mobility because they're going to have to start moving, and right now the mud is just making it impossible. Very expensive, costs a lot. Unfortunate. I have the ability to put 1 unit into an amphib transport right now. Only 1, with our current research, and the fact that we just had one out. So. Okay, we'll put this one out onto an amphib transport out. And then if Sendai stays open, we'll be able to amphibious land behind these units and then really break apart this front line. For now, we will take the first army and attack the enemy Indochina Expedition Army, taking 1 damage but dealing 3, something I think is totally worth it. I don't know exactly how jam-packed this is, but I do know we have to use any amount of resources as we can, and the sooner we break through and make everything a continuous 2-front battle, the sooner we're going to win, because we have the MPPs increasingly, and they do not, as they lose all of their important towns, and they've already lost most of their resources. I hate seeing this be Japanese. It's so stupid that this is the way it is. But the 5th Army will hopefully get to see some good action soon. China has nothing to deploy. We do have 1 more army ready to go. We do have actually 2 more armies. The Sichuan army was already recruited and is good to go. This light cruiser can get some better AA defense. Not really necessary, but it could come in handy maybe towards the end here. Let's go ahead and give it its upgrade. We have 140 MPPs remaining. We have actually finished a 175 research. That's command and control. We don't have any 125s or 100s or anything looking like that I want to get. We could go for aerial warfare. Could also just wait for something more important to finish. Aerial warfare wouldn't be bad. We have a lot of planes involved now. Well, let's go ahead and get aerial warfare. Why not? Go ahead and do that. Because we do have planes here. And they can get help. Ooh, this medium bomber is getting too far away from the action now, but supplies in this mountain should start improving as we're moving HQs and such up. That goes for a lot of things. The supply back here is going to start to get worse, so we'll move this medium bomber forward. I'll move the first fighters forward as well. Now, there's no good opportunities to do anything here for the time being, and we're not currently on the offensive. We already pushed our offensive, so we're going to give some elite reinforcements to the Flying Tigers over in China. That's 17 MPPs, so we're pretty much dry. Pretty much dry. We've spent a lot on upgrades and a lot on setting up other things. There's a lot of stuff that we're just not doing with China's units now that the fronts are just the way they are. So I think that's basically everything we can do with China right now. Everything that we want to do is complete. Holy crap, look at all these upgrades. Long-range aircraft 3, anti-air 2, infantry weapons 2, fucking Christ. But they have an HQ here. If we kill their HQs, that'll really hurt them. And if they keep this on the front, ooh, the fortification isn't even facing us. It's facing the sea, basically. I don't even know why it's facing this dock, but we could do some massive damage to this HQ. The HQs dying will weaken their units considerably. So China is starting to break through. That's good. That means America can stay focused on whatever the hell it's staying focused on, just the Pacific in general. Now let's take a look at the siege of Eniwetok over here. Let's take the Massachusetts battleship, bombard the enemies there, dealing some damage probably to the settlement. Let's go take a peek at what it looks like right now. So yeah, their supplies at 1. They're all kinds of fucked up. The supply underneath them has probably recovered to 1. Actually, no. Well, no, we just hurt it to 0. I don't think we're going to get it any better than this is the thing. Like, unless they give up just from bombardment, I don't know that that's really going to do anything. Well, we can keep trying to bombard and see. It's a real pain to try to get them off of here. We can lower their readiness. Their morale's down to 2%. Can't even get any lower. It's not going any lower, I can tell you that much. We can take the medium bombers and go ahead and bomb them. Dealing 1 damage to them. Okay, that's something. I wish I had more strikes to use against specifically them. We can go ahead and bombard the port again. Try to take that out of commission. Everything here has fired its shots that's pressed up against this. Let's go ahead and have you do the same. Yeah, they're down to 1% morale, and still only a 2 damage hit. That's the real unfortunate thing here. You try some more bombardments. Yeah, it's gonna be very, very hard to get them off this island. We're gonna need like multiple attacks. With 1 supply, they're at least not gonna be able to recover after this point. As long as we maintain them at 1 supply. Oh, the thing is just that we need more long-range amphibious transports to be able to do the damage necessary, or more bombers and more time to weaken them. And that is annoying. I have an idea. This isn't the most important island to really get hung up on. Like, I'm choosing to get hung up on this. It's not even a national morale thing, I think. Oh, no, it is. It's just underneath a battleship. I'm going to attack with this Special Forces unit right here. We've used our attack. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put myself over in a port, and we're going to come down here. There's 2 places to land here, so we don't even need the attack to actually break through here if there is an enemy. So now that he's used his attack, he'll land, take this over, pop back out into a new transport, and have another attack. The enemy entrenchment is definitely lowered for what that's worth. We have another battleship that can move forward and bombard it. You know, again, for whatever that's worth. I guess we're getting some experience, or whatever. I'll send this unit, I guess, a little back, so we can get some upgrades. We'll take this battleship, give it the upgrades that it needs. We have a lot of situations like that back here. Reinforce the S-42 sub. These cruisers, well, one of these cruisers, completely good to go. I love how I can just refer to the numbers now, the colors, and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and take the Tuscaloosa, which is just going to be a screen. It's not going to do anything quite special. Not that we need any more of a screen. Battleships will do the bombardment for us. It would certainly help if I got more in this area, but again, I don't think I'm really going to need it. I think if I just play what the transports can do with the fact that the Japs are not garrisoning everything over here, at least even if they are garrisoning this, we'll still have a place we can land and fight from, and then we'll see that, and it's not a 1 hex thing, so it should be fine. As we try to break through this. In terms of this attack and other things in the region, that's pretty much all we're going to do in the Pacific for the time being. We can move some submarines around, but other than that, we know there's nobody over here. So we can actually go, like, try and keep an eye on it. Do some little patrols over there, and we figure there's not much over here either. But we'll just stay in the Marshall Islands for the time being. For now, I'll just leave this surrounded by battleships and keep the extra one somewhere a little bit safer. And then we'll pick this up on the next episode.